Hi! We're back with Dubster Dive. You're back this time. It's been a bit.
Well, that's because you needed a filler video for Halloween.
I don't know. That was Funimation being really dumb, censoring anime as they tend to do. So even 10 years ago,
So it was
things
just them
hadn't changed.
being themselves, so nothing has changed.
Yeah. But hey, at least you got to skip Berserk 2016. Pansy. But you didn't get to skip out on this one. Which, by the way, this is still better than Berserk 2016. I'm sorry, man. I have to be the voice to say that.
I mean, you'd have to try pretty hard to not be.
But, yeah, so... Here we are. With a shounen that was supposed to be, I guess, Kodansha's new big break. They were marketing the hell out of this anime adaptation since AOT's manga ended and they needed their next big thing. Orient.
Gave it to the wrong studio, guys.
Yeah, but it's Orient, and caps lock with every letter capital for maximum stupidity. Seriously, is that necessary?
Stupid.
So Orient...
Oh, you mean the title? Yeah, that too.
Yeah, I'm ignoring you. But yeah, Orient's a manga that started in 2018 and is still ongoing by Shinobu Otaka. She's the mangaka for Magi. And...
Just can't catch a break with adaptations.
I mean, hey, she was the character designer for Back Arrow. And as we know, that show was insane in the best way possible.
It was definitely a show.
Well, the anime Orient was announced last year and would be done by ACGT, who we've covered here before. They did the DA0 anime, and that was definitely an adaptation. At least you could say, though, that had Kickstarter as an excuse.
That came off with better animation, though, and that was Kickstarter.
I mean, they did Freezing, and that's my kind of shit. Wait a minute. And they did Duel Masters, that Yu-Gi-Oh clone. Anyone remember Duel Masters? No? Don't worry, I never saw it either. Well, the anime of this would air this year. It'd take a 3-month hiatus after March. It'd come back with part 2 in July. I don't know why it took a 3-month hiatus, because it's not like much changed during those 3 months from what you're saying based on the animation. If anything, part 2 was worse.
It got worse in every regard.
Yeah, I went through this show again, because that's normally what I do when it's finished, if we're going to cover it. And I can say this is one that works better to marathon. Week after week, people were saying, oh, the pacing's a bit slow. Guys, did you forget how slow Naruto's pacing was, or One Piece, or Bleach, or any of those long-running shonen in the beginning?
The difference is they didn't cut out the character writing in those shows.
Yeah, which is why we're saying part 2 is worse. Episodes 1 through 15, 16 or so feel fine, and then the back third happens, and it's like someone hit fast forward and said, let's speedrun this. But what is Orient about? Well, it's a show I actually really wanted to love, guys. I really did. You could ask him. I was sad that they kind of botched this one. I mean,
kinda.
It's samurai using the equivalent of Zanpakuto to fight demons. That's awesome.
I mean, yeah, those do look pretty demonic. I wouldn't let one near my house. It looks too fucking ugly. And that's just the animation. Anyway.
I heard people say the keyframes look good, but that the animation has no fluidity to it. It looks really choppy.
Yeah, the keyframes that they specifically made just to take screenshots of to hype up Core 2.
But,
that's
yeah, so... Our main character in our story is Musashi, whose whole thing is he's dreaming of being a Bushi. Those are what the demon hunters are called in this world. Or Kishin hunters. I think they also call them Oni too, but whatever. We'll just call them demon hunters for simplicity.
All of the above. Flip-flops.
Yeah. So his dream is to be part of his own Bushi band someday and take down the Oni because his family ostracized him for being related to a Bushi. Because the Oni basically are worshipped in the area he came from because they're all powerful and people believe there's no point taking them on. Because, why the hell fight a demon? It's a losing
They're really
fight.
nice guys once you
Yeah.
get to know them.
They're really nice enslaving us, guys. And we also follow his best friend, who I think is also probably going to be his rival at some point. I don't know. Shonen's like doing that sort of thing. Kojiro. And his motivation is he wants to set out on the journey with Musashi, not just to become a Bushi, but to find out more on his daddy. Because he wants to meet
His
him.
other motivation is also getting written off the show in the second core. That's for later.
Yeah. And, I mean, you could tell Kojiro, they kind of took Gon's motivation from Hunter x Hunter. Gon set out on an adventure to find his dad. It's more or less the same thing. Speaking of taking things, there's also Sugumi, a slave girl that they free to join with them. So it's a three-man team, kind of like Naruto. This kind of borrows a lot from other shonens and tries mixing them all together. I already mentioned Zanpakuto Toes, and we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah.
Speaking of the slave girl thing, isn't that recycling Morgiana's plot from Magi?
Yes. Yes, it is. I mean, then again, that's not even... In this case, it's not Slave Girl. It's part of a band of generic assholes.
Yeah. But you all see where this is going. They meet other Bushi bands and have to train with them. Of course, Musashi is the chosen one because he has the soul of someone known as the Obsidian Goddess inside of him that could make him all-powerful and turn the tide of the war against the Kishin demons.
The Nine-Tailed Fox.
Yeah. Or just the demon being inside you in general. That's been used a hell of a lot.
Wolf.
Yeah. Black Clover, Fairy Tail. Insert things here.
All the things.
Yeah. So you all see the basic setup. They also do the thing where each Bushi band has rank, so some are more famous than others. And it's one of those things, at times it could be a little difficult to keep track of, especially when they go on a 3-month hiatus. Hence why I said this show works better to marathon, and that 3-month hiatus actually hurt more than help in the long run.
Yeah. But it also doesn't help that they throw that when you get more Bushi bands, they throw literally 50 characters at you and expect to remember all of them.
Yeah, guys, I'm going to be honest. There's way too many characters. I couldn't get all of them down, so I got the ones that I felt mattered the most. I got the most screen time.
The ones that weren't the background characters of their groups.
Yeah, because otherwise we would be here forever. Which is why I was saying, like, in the back half, it feels like a lot is missing.
Aww.
Speaking of which, let's get to that animation, guys. So you already said it's not very great, even during the fight scenes.
No.
Oh.
You see, they do the thing where to try to look like an attack or something as impact, they'll just make the screen shake. But the way they do it just comes across as, stop shaking the fucking screen, asshole.
It's a Michael Bay film. It's funny, Berserk 2016 did that too.
Yeah. There's using screen shake to create an impact, then there's doing it to give the illusion of one. This is the second of the latter.
Yeah. Look, you can overlook poor animation or whatever if everything else is presented good. The problem is, though, well, everything's rushed, as we
As a
said.
matter of fact, it is.
Trust me, you could ask him, like, after the first half, I was like, okay, well, maybe now it'll start finding its footing. You know, shonen anime, a lot of people forget that, like, it takes a good bit for them. You know, like 15, 20 episodes. No. Once part 2 started, you felt like we were getting somewhere just for them to fast forward. I can't stress that enough, guys. Trust me. I championed Black Clover since day one. You could ask him. When everyone else was shitting on it, I was in that show's corner the whole time. I like standing up for the underdog anime. But this is one where it's like, damn it, Orient, I tried with you.
You can't even stand up on your own. You broke your own legs on purpose.
Speaking of breaking its own legs on purpose, let's get to the dub. So it's out of Bang Zoom. You know what that means. Copious amounts of double casting up the wazoo. And we have 380 art directors, because that always goes well. So we've got Chris Kasem, Tony Oliver, someone named Dora Fine, who I think we might have covered here before. I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure we did.
With a script by Melly Grant. And you know what? I'll just wait till we finish reading off all the main characters, and let's see if you guys could pick up on it. So first, we have our main man, Musashi, who's typical shonen protag. And his whole thing is he wants to find a family, because, you know, his family were dicks. That's the whole theme of the show, finding a place to belong and being loyal to your family, which I guess works as a message.
They killed your family. They'll never,
but they'll never do it again. CSI Miami. Well, Musashi is voiced by AJ Beckles, who's Takemichi from Tokyo Revengers. Who's hyped for season 2 of that?
Gee, it would sure be a shame if he was also Odd Voices.
He is. He's also Satoshi from Odd Taxi, which, why isn't that movie dubbed yet? And Shiki from Kimono Jihen. We also covered here before, you know, just if you want to check it out, I guess. And I think he does fine. He gives off the whole, you know, typical shonen protag thing. But hey, they even kind of did an Easter egg with young Musashi. His Shota version is Erica Mendez, which I don't know if they did this on purpose, but it could have been because Erica Mendez voiced Aladdin and Magi, you know, as a pseudo-reference. Especially because she didn't voice any other major characters in this.
Yeah, because why would they do that?
Yeah. After him, we have his best friend, Kojiro, who's, I guess, a no-nonsense person. He wants to be super serial the whole time.
At least we would say, if he wasn't only in, like...
He was in the first half at, like, every episode, and then the second half, when he joins his own group with Tsugumi, you know, he...
They disappear. They disappear for like literally like 7 episodes. Are there for a scene, then disappear for like the rest of the show.
Well, he's voiced by Stephen Fu. I've already nicknamed him Randy Orton on this show. If you people get that joke, good for you. Who is now the new voice of Naofumi and Alice Asmodeus in Iruma-kun, as well as Noe from Case Study of Vanitas. Which I think Stephen Fu is okay as Kojiro, mainly because Kojiro doesn't really, you know, emote much. And when he does, it's him being silly, which I think Stefan is okay at doing. Yeah. So...
Which is why Alice is was a better choice than Naofumi.
Yeah. I think I've said it before. Stephen Fu, he's incapable of getting angry and pissed off. So Naofumi, he was not a good pick for. If I didn't say it on this Dubster Dive before, then I said it now.
And yeah, Shield Hero Season 2, I'm sure there are a lot of videos on it already. We don't need to shit on it as much as it already has.
We already beat a dead horse last month, Berserk is... Anyways, yeah, so he's fine as Kojiro. After him, we have Tsugumi, who's the peppy, upbeat chick they saved, and I guess she's, her whole thing is she wants to be noticed, be senpai. She even makes jokes about wanting to be praised by Kojiro and, yeah, and Musashi. And she's voiced by Emmy Lowe, who we have not covered here at all. No, it's not. It's not like she's in everything that if you just pull a name out of a hat.
Bubbles.
Yeah, but she's Lucy in Cyberpunk Edge Runner, which we're the only 2 people on the planet who haven't seen it yet. We'll fix that eventually. Promise.
When the ratings are down, we'll watch.
She's also Rena, Dena, Lena, whatever the fuck from Higurashi's new dub.
Whatever they are this week.
Again, can't really shit on her voice acting. She's fine as Tsugumi. Whenever she's cast as something, I can't say she doesn't try. even if she is a bit of a voice whore. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not like they're a flaccid pancake.
Well, surprisingly, he wasn't in this. But we have our next female main, Michiru, who I'm pretty sure was supposed to get a lot more screen time, but yeah, so she's your...
Oh yeah, speaking of her, that would be the perfect time to talk about episode 12, or was it 13?
Yeah, it was 12. So you talk about how season 1 or set 1 ended at the start of an arc.
Yes, it ended in the episode that introduced her, and then it went away for fucking 6 months.
Or 3 months, yeah.
Or 3 months.
Yeah, because Ep 11 wrapped up an arc perfectly, and then Ep 12 comes out and I'm like, wait, what? There's another episode? Why? And it was the start of the next arc. It's why I think, like, maybe this was planned to be a long-running shonen like Black Clover at some point, but then somewhere along the way, they're like, no, let's just make it 24 eps. Again, if this was long-running, could cut it a little more slack with the animation, because obviously they'd have to cut corners with how many episodes they'd have to do, but, you know... Back to Michiru.
Puts Maki season 2 in perspective at this point.
Back to Michiru. She's, yeah, typical innocent waifu type. You all know the type. Oh. And she's the pseudo love interest for Musashi, which I'm pretty sure they were going to try doing more with, but again, nuked screen time is the vibe I got, especially in the back half. She's voiced by Xanthi Huyn. Takina from Licorice Recoil. Who doesn't love that show die? Waifus with gun fu, man!
Yeah, but I can't believe we got the uncensored version of episode 11.
Oh yeah, they didn't fix that with the dub, the stupid Spider Lilies stuff. There's also Hermit Eden Zero. Can't wait for season 2 of that. Again, she does fine as Michiru. I don't really have any complaints. Michiru, though, is one of those characters who's just generic girl next door type, so... After her, though, we have, getting this piece of shit out of the way, Naotora. Naotora is the head of the Takeda Bushi band, and he's a blue blade. I might as well explain what the Kitetsu blades are now. So, Kitetsu is, I guess, known as like this universe's equivalent to spiritual pressure or energy, and the Kitetsu blades each pick their own masters, and, again, like Zanpakuto's. Each one's a different color, and each color has different properties. They exposit this to you only once, and never bring it up again, and expect you to keep that in mind going forward. Careful, it'll be on the test die.
They took a 3-month break.
So, yeah, the blue blades are basically control elements like fire and ice and stuff, is what I could gather. Red blades strengthen your offensive power. Green and yellow give you special augments, which we'll get to a couple of those in a bit. One of them is kind of amazing if you've played Armed and Dangerous. And then they mentioned the white blade only once, and apparently that's the top of the food chain, that barely anyone's ever gotten the white blade.
That's racist.
I know, isn't it, though? And doesn't Musashi have a black blade? Because the whole obsidian goddess thing. Probably, I don't fucking know.
No, only for that. Only for that arc. Then he's red.
Okay. Well, back to Naotora.
I know they didn't rush through anything, so I understand why you forgot.
Well,
like, then again, you watched it twice. I don't know how you forgot.
Sorry. Not perfect, man. But Naotora, though, as he's a typical laid-back guy. He's, go with the flow kind of person. It's like, I don't care. I'll do whatever. I just want to have fun. And he's the first Bushi band leader they meet, and the first pseudo-mentor, I guess, to Musashi that sets him on the right path. And he's voiced by Scott Freeman. Damon Mills. Damn it. I'm going to keep doing that, man, forever.
Yeah.
Ibuki from Beastars, Meharu from Call the Night. Wait, that's a current dub cast at Sentai. Sentai, why? You're supposed to be the chosen ones. Don't cast this asshole. Whatever. He does fine as Naotora, but I don't.
Like one episode.
What's up?
Isn't he only just like
In one
One in
episode of
a,
like set 1, and then in set
yeah.
2, he's in like 3 or 4, because he's part of the major final
And the
conflict.
OP of Core 2 sets him up like he's gonna have his badass fight with one of the antags, but then that happens off screen, essentially.
Well, kind of, yeah.
Mostly.
But yeah, enough about this piece of shit. I want to talk about it any longer. So next we have Akihiro, one of the other Bushis that, this is the one Musashi joins up with in Core 2. And he's kind of a dick. His whole thing is might makes right. Strength controls everything. And he's voiced by Alex Lee, who's Zenitsu from Demon Slayer, Mikey from Tokyo Revengers, and you've all heard me praise Alex Lee to death before. This is no different, so I'm glad he's at least here.
Especially when he's the character having a mental breakdown.
Yeah. Yeah. Rent a girlfriend indeed. And, I mean, Akihiro is typical dick type. I don't know what more you guys want me to say. And the other member of this group that actually matters a decent amount is Katsumi, who is trying to become a popular Bushi for his retainers or something. He's voiced by Brian Anderson, who's Envy from the live-action FMA trilogy. Please, for the love of God, don't make me cover the other two guys. They're really bad. And he's Opera from
Make him feed on his pain.
Well, Katsumi also gives Musashi some advice, basically telling him, you know, it's okay, man. We don't mind following this dick's orders, because at the end of the day, you know, we're all Bushis. We're in the same band, and it's what it's all about, man. I was in a band. Were you in a band?
You were never in a band. What the fuck are you talking about?
You were never in a band. Well, after him, we have Naue, who's a guy who's a perfectionist. He's a red Bushi, or just a red blade. And, yeah, he's quick to anger real quickly if things aren't 100% perfect. Did I kill 3 Kishin or 4? You have to be specific, is literally a thing with him.
25!
He's voiced by Caleb Yen. It was the new voice of Ed in FMA live action. No. No. And he's Wu Fang from Kingdom. Do I remember Wu Fei from Gundam Wing?
Yes.
And I guess he does fine as Naue. I think he fits more here than some of his other roles. And, I mean, hey, it's actually, why do they keep casting him as short people? Did you notice that? He played short person in
It'd
Pretty
be
Boy Detective
ironic
Club.
if he was tall and...
Yeah, it's fucking Ned, as I'm going to call him. He's Pretty Boy Detective Club. He played a short person. No Guns Life, was he short? Pretty sure he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what is with you people making him play midgets? But yeah. I actually don't mind him as a Vi. I just think he's constantly miscast a lot of the time. Now he's actually a character I did like. I think his fight with one of the antags worked out well if it wasn't so rushed to get there.
Oh man, was it rushed? Holy fuck.
Well, we only have a couple of the Bushis left before we could get to our antags. Tatsuomi, who's the head of the biggest Bushi band since the big one, the one that all of them are working with. Because, yeah, in the second half, they're trying to take down the Orochi Kishin, because it's all powerful and shit. So they're planning a raid on it. Tatsuomi is voiced by Keiji Tang, and it's typical typecasting for him. You all already know.
Should have been ashamed if he was double casted as someone else they tried to focus on.
That character barely got anything. But yeah, he's just a minor member of one of the other Bushi bands. But yeah, Gojo from JJK, and Guts from Berserk 2016. Yay. I mean, Tatsuomi's barely here before he gets taken out of the picture after only a couple of episodes, but figured I'd mention him. Just like his strategist sidekick, her name's Kuroko. That's her whole thing, is she's strategist that does planning and shit. And she's voiced by Marie Westbrook, who's Hanami from JJK and Dorio from Cyberpunk Edgerunners. And I think you said that she sounded a lot like Lisa from Genshin Impact, some of her lines.
Yeah, like specifically the Lisa voice.
I could kind of hear it. Again, not really any complaints. This character is, though said to be really smart, you get glimpses of that, but it just feels like when we get to the war portion that they're talking, like the raid on the island, a lot of that's rushed just to get to the fight scenes.
And those aren't even good.
Speaking of fight scenes, let's get to our antags. So our antags are known as the Black Dogs, and specifically, the top members are known as the Obsidian Eight. See, kind of like the Espada. See what they did there? Our first one that we got in this anime is Seiroku, voiced by Howard Wang, Shu from Engage Kiss, and Itoki from Shinobi no Itoki. Do you like Engage Kiss, Dai?
No.
That's because you're not a degenerate. And I don't know, Seiroku's abilities, he more or less uses sutures or whatever, because he used to be a doctor before he went rogue. And he can use his energy to take away your senses and all that shit, and tie you up and stuff.
Wolf?
Yeah. He ends up fighting Naui, which I should mention, Naui's ability is he can use chains. But yeah, so what are the, small spoiler, I guess, whatever. What are the rush things I'm going to get to real quick is Seiroku and Naui have their first altercation, and it obviously doesn't go very well for Naui, because you all know shounen anime. And they're like, next time we meet, the results will be different. And they're like, oh, okay, so we're going to focus on him eventually rematching. They literally rematched the following episode. It feels like we're missing a lot.
Really? What gave it away?
Stupid part is, I actually don't mind this fight if it had better setup to it. But yeah, Howard Lang does okay here. He's fine, I guess. Thankfully, he didn't end up talking to Kojiro, because that would have been a little silly. After him, we have Yataro, who's Michiru's dad, I guess. Because, yeah, you find out in like Ep 13 or 14, she's a double agent. And
triple agent.
He's voiced by Jalen K. Castle, Okuyasu from JoJo, and Kiyoshi from Kuroko's Basketball. And yeah, I don't know. He's a dick, obviously, a typical antagonist prick that views people as like, oh, if you can increase my strength, then I'll devour you. Because that's what people do. You know, it's survival of the fittest, Darwinism and all that, which, sure. But they introduced a weird character quirk of his where he stutters whenever he's around stronger members of the Black Dogs. And it's only there
for an episode.
Yeah, it's literally only there once. It's like, what was the point of that character quirk in this anime?
I got bored of it.
Yeah. The last one I want to mention is probably the anti that gets the most screen time throughout this, and that's Shiro, who's voiced by Brandon McGinnis, who's also double casted. We'll get to that in a minute. Brandon McGinnis, he's the one, Shiro's the one with the armed and dangerous power. I actually like his power, I think it's cool. Where he could flip the world upside down and have you fall towards the sky.
Man, if only a certain visor used an ability like that and wasn't an idiot.
What? Oh, I get it. Well, Brandon McGinnis has voiced Ren in DA0, speaking of the connection with the studio, and Fenro in Black Clover. Ha, Crunchyroll lost Black Clover.
And Bleach.
At the same time, give or take. I think Brandon McGinnis does a good job voicing Shiro. Shiro's kind of, he's one of those, he's like, yeah, I'm all powerful and I know it. I'm going to be a dick and just say whatever the hell I want. I could kill all of you at the drop of a hat, and there's not a damn thing any of you could do about it. Also, he worships the Obsidian Goddess because he's a simp like that. I made it too. Like, the second he finds out she's in Musashi's body or whatever, he literally starts crying his eyes out. He's like, I've waited so long to meet you. And Musashi's like, wait, me? And he goes, no, not you, the person inside you. And it's like, what?
Excuse me?
But yeah. So I don't know. Out of the antags, I actually liked him the most, but that's probably because he actually got the most out of the screen time he was here since he was in part 1 and a lot of part 2
Yeah.
as well. And yeah, he's the one that ends up fighting Naotora. Gay on gay crime. You know, because both
The
the
fight
voice
they were
actors are,
hyping up the most.
you all get the joke. Yeah, they were hyping this fight up so much, and
It takes up like at least
half an
30
episode, give or take. That's it.
It also takes up like 30 seconds of the OP in Core 2. I shit you not.
Yeah, and they make it this whole big deal where now Tora's like, I saw this rogue Bushi surrounded by corpses of my men or some shit, and making it seem like this might be revenge for him. But it just comes out of left field when they first meet on their confrontation, and it's like, shouldn't this have more build up to it? Like maybe if we got more flashbacks of Naotora's past leading up to this, you know, so it just doesn't feel like an ass pull, just to
No,
give
we
some
gotta
tension to
cut
their
those.
fight. But yeah.
Cut them. Only fight Ooga Booga.
Speaking of Brandon McGinnis, he also voices Kijinosuke, who's one of the members of Musashi's group. I'm bringing him up here because of the double casting. He's really friendly with everybody, and for some reason he randomly says Spanish terminologies, like calling Musashi Senor and rolling the R. I have no idea why. I really don't understand it.
Sure, why the fuck not? No, it's not like Moggy. They didn't have weird shit.
Yeah, that's true. Well, only a couple of people left. Next, we have the Obsidian Goddess, who's on the main cast list, even though she is only in like 3 episodes and has maybe a few sentences.
Yep.
As we mentioned, she's the spirit inside of Musashi. She is voiced by Suzy Young, who's Yua from Genshin Impact and Makima from Chainsaw Man. Speaking of Chainsaw Man, if you're not watching that and you watch this instead, why? Go watch Chainsaw Man. Come on. It's great. And I wish I could say more, but Suzy Young doesn't get much to work with here. And to be honest, I think she's definitely come a long way in the last couple of years. If anyone noticed in 2020 when we were covering stuff, and 2021, like when we covered Kenshin movies, I always said, she's okay. Because that's all she was, in my opinion, at the time, was okay. But at this point, she's actually improved a lot. Just go listen to her as Makima or some of her other recent roles, and you can tell a huge difference in the last couple of years. You wouldn't know that in this show, though. Thought you have an Obsidian Goddess inside you.
Or drunk Eula from that event.
Yeah. The last character I'll mention is Mitsuru, who's also on the main cast list, even though she's only in like 2 episodes also. She's the Kutetsu Bladesmith, and the one who gives exposition on how Kitetsu blades work. Again, why on the main cast list? I'm so confused.
Because they're very important.
Well, she's voiced by Amberly Connors, who's Nozomi from Keijo. Now that's my kind of show. And Komi from Komi Can't Communicate. Again, not really much to say about this character. She's literally just exposition kun at the end of the day. Although she did have one of the most hilarious lines that, if taken out of context, comes across. What's up?
This is the only reason she's here. He's doing this on purpose.
Oh yes, because it's what you cannot unthink it in the dub specifically. So Musashi is having trouble linking with Kitetsu blades because apparently his soul isn't red or blue or yellow or any of that. He's one of the rare souls that is black. Yes, this is another almost kind of like Dragon Ball Super, don't shoot this man isn't, idea. So Amberly Connors says to him, her character, Mitsuru, when he can't combine with any Kitetsu blade, again, Obsidian Goddess inside him, but we don't know that yet, she says, I am so sorry. It is truly unfortunate your soul was created black. Remember, she's saying this to technically a black man because of who's voicing Musashi. It kind of looks kind of fucked up if you want to look at it that way. And because I'm an asshole, I decided to bring it up because I'm a dick. Jokes aside, though, did you guys spot what I was talking about with the cast list? Because some of the other standouts on the cast list that I didn't bring up, I'm going to have to try pronouncing some of these. Okay, Kimberly Ann Campbell, Danny Chambers, Bill Butts, Anjali Kunapinelli. KG Tang's double casted, so is Howard Wang, so is just about everybody else. But do you guys get it? You could really count the number of Caucasians on this dub cast on one hand. I am not exaggerating. If there was ever a thing you could call race casting, holy shit, this dub went all out with that.
And ironic they did it on the show called Orient.
Maybe that's why they did it. If that's the case, so why was Musashi an Asian voiced by a black man? You're confusing me. Just to be clear, by the way, I don't have issues with anyone here except that fucking pedo over there. He can get the fuck out of here and go burn for all I care. But everyone else, I don't have issues with. I don't mind AJ Beckles. I don't mind any of them, really. You all know how much I love Alex Lee and KG Tang. I keep, gushing over them when they're in something.
He doesn't mind them unless they're miscasted.
Exactly. Sorry, man. I just don't think he works his guts as well. But yeah, so, and I don't mind diverse casts either if they're legit diverse and not whatever the hell this is. Again, you need to make it look evenly split is all I'm saying. And get the best person to fit the job. I don't get the cynical part of my brain feels like they didn't do that with this show.
I mean, there's not a lot of trying on in a lot of ways in this show. One of that is whoever decided to adapt it this way.
Yeah, which brings me to the dub overall. The dub isn't bad, but it's nothing stand outish either. Again, you have the people trying like Alex Lee, Emmy Lowe, AJ, Stephen Fu, and all them, but you could find them doing better work elsewhere. This dub is your typical LA dub.
And those last two don't even exist in the second core, so they don't even.
Dude, they literally don't show up much at all in the second core. Then episode like 18 hits, and they just show up and they're like, "Oh, hey, we're here now." And it's like, where the fuck have you two idiots been? But yeah.
We pan over to them and for a scene 3 or 4 episodes into the second core, and then they're not seen again until then.
Yeah. Be honest, again, this show isn't the worst thing I've seen, but it is one of those, it's wasted potential. I'm more disappointed than angry at it. Because you could see there was something there.
That's an easy win, but they fucked it up.
And there are solid moments, too. Like when Musashi is actually doubting himself and be like, why is everyone listening to, Akihiro? Alex. Akihiko, yeah, speaking Persona. Akihiro, being a slave to him and all that. All they want to do is help this guy out. It's the same as slave. Michiru more or less tells him, saying that helping someone achieve their dreams with loyalty is not the same as blind slavery. Again, really good moment and message. Reminds me of Berserk, the Bonfire of Dreams thing. With that whole setup. So you could tell there's something here. But it just feels like it's lost in adaptation. I feel like if this were handed off to a better studio or better staff or whatever, or given more time to breathe at the very least. Which is weird because I saw people saying it was slow-paced, which maybe it was in the beginning, but I still stick by what I said.
I mean, I don't see that. Even the beginning felt kind of rushed.
Yeah. Either way, I've seen some people do like this show, and again, guys, I totally get why. There is stuff to like. It's just, I feel like instead of being okay at best, this could have been a hell of a lot better.
It has the blueprints there to be better.
Yeah, and I mean, even the soundtrack is heavy metal and all that stuff, so, it's got okay fight music, too. get you in the mood to watch people sword fight to the death and kill demons. But, you know.
But it's hard to get invested visually when the backdrops and everything don't look good either.
Yeah, I can't really speak on that, though, for obvious reasons, but... Either way, as far as if there's going to be a season 2 of this, none's been announced.
With how much
really doubt it.
Hyping it up, they want there to be, but I'll pass if it's not another studio.
I don't even think it's. I wonder what's going on behind the scenes. Like, were the animators rushed? Was everyone rushing behind the scenes? Because the studio has done okay stuff before.
Just not shonen.
Yeah, just not shonens. So, I guess if anything...
It's be like handing Piro anything that's not a shonen.
Remember Tokyo Ghoul?
You brought it up. Don't blame me if someone asked you to cover it.
But yeah. The show's alright, like I said. But you could probably do better too. In terms of... That's the end of the day. Not the worst thing, but there's definitely way better out there. So...
Squandered
indeed. But hey, do you know what that means, Ty? Coming up next, we're finally back with Bleach. Aren't you excited?
One Bleach a week just to melt. I mean...
I can't wait, man. I keep hearing how great it is. It's gonna be awesome. And they got the cast back. Well, as many people as they could. So... all the replacements are gonna be fun. But hey, let us know what y'all thought of Orient. Maybe you love the show. And again, I kind of get why. I just wish it was adapted better. I wouldn't be surprised if people out there really said the manga was amazing or whatever.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, people said Magi is one of the best written manga they've read or whatever, too.
So
too bad.
Yeah, but at least Maki had season 1.
Yeah. Season 2 started off.
They didn't even get that.
But enough shitting on Orient. Let us know what you all thought, and if you agree or not, I guess. Like, comment, it really helps. Please, be your friend. And we'll be back next time with Bleach. That was Orient. Oh, I'm sorry, Caps Lock. Orient! Seriously, they might have added an exclamation mark to the end of the title.
No, they're gonna do that for the eventual season 2.
Orient Plus.
They fucking
just remember, at the end of the day, if you think about it, season 1 of Orient or set 1 aired at the same time as the Demon Slayer Entertainment District arc. Not a very good idea, guys. I've already said before, I don't think Demon Slayer is the greatest masterpiece some people make it out to be, but animation-wise, just on spectacle alone, yeah. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what I think. The public have spoken. In terms of popularity, competing with Demon Slayer is not a smart move for a brand new IP, especially in the same genre as a shounen.
Yeah. And then also, unfortunately for it aired the same year Bleach was announced to be coming back. With how many parallels you can make between it and some of the stuff in Bleach.
Well, that's why I actually really liked a lot of the setup in this show because of how similar it was to Bleach.
Yeah, because you sim for Bleach, we got
exactly.
So when are you gonna play Bleach Brave Souls?
No, I don't play gacha games. They're not getting me. But alright guys, thanks again for watching. Hope you have yourselves a great day, and we'll see you next time for Bleach 1000 Year Blood War Ep 1.
Episode 1.
Yep. Till next time, guys. Have a good day. Bye!